Hey everyone, welcome back to Boyson's Gone Wild. In this video I'm going to be sharing with you what I as a professional guide take with me on multi-day hikes here in South Africa. We'll have a look at my gear, my food and some of the odd clothing choices I made. Hey everyone, so I wanted to share with you today all the different gear I take with me on a multi-day hike here in South Africa. So a little bit more about me. I'm a professional trails guide, and so I experiment a lot with different gear and different things to see what works best for me. So this is definitely by no means the definitive version of the gear that you need to take with you, but I thought I'd just share some tips and tricks and a little bit of the food and stuff that I take with. This is definitely all going to change depending on the hike, depending on my preferences, depending on what the other people are taking with, and depending on the weather. So it'll always chop and change. This is kind of just what I'm using right now. So what we're going to do first is we're going to start off with what I'm actually going to be wearing on the day. So like I said, it's always going to change, but all the clothes here you see in front of me, this is what I'm going to be wearing for most of the multi-day. So let's start at the top. So on top, I'm always going to be wearing a nice hat to protect me from the sun. And this one, it's got all the extra dorky features, extra clips to make sure that you always embarrass your wife. Then, next one down, I'm going to be wearing a nice cotton shirt. I know there's a lot of people out there that really don't like cotton, but for me, and for especially walking in South Africa in the warmer climates, it really isn't such a big issue. I've experimented with all the different materials and I find that cotton is probably the best material for me in any ways, and the other materials just tend to stink a lot more. And then the next layer down, the pants I'm going to be wearing is mostly going to be shorts. I'm actually going to be wearing these shorts. These are very nice shorts, Burbu. These are actually the longer length shorts, believe it or not. They're great, they have lots of extra pockets, they dry really easily, and for me it's quite important. I always want a belt so that I can put other stuff on there. Always, it's really important to be nerdy and have as much nerdy stuff with you as possible. Then, because swimming is super important to me on these hikes, underneath these shorts I'm actually going to be wearing a pair of rugby shorts. These are really nice because they dry really easily, and when I get to a swimming spot, especially if I'm expecting a lot of other people on the hiking trail, I can just take off these shorts, swim in these, and then also just keep hiking in these. They dry really easily. So I haven't tested this yet, but I think it's going to work pretty well. So this is Future Tian here, and with regards to wearing two pairs of shorts on a hike, I think that might have been the most Afrikaans idea I've ever had. Needless to say, wasn't a great idea, wouldn't recommend it. Back to the video. Then getting to my footwear. Here in front of me I have going to be wearing a pair of Balega anti-blister socks. These are really nice. And then the shoes, I've always told my wife that I've never been in love with shoes before, but these shoes have been the best shoes that I've ever owned. So these are the Gym Green Ranger barefoot boots, all leather, South African made, and these guys have done probably around about 1,600 kilometers with me, and they are still looking pretty good. Then extra things that I've always wanted, but I've never tried out. I'm actually going to be trying them out now on a multi-day for the first time. Might not be the smartest thing to do, but I'm going to do it anyways. Is I bought a pair of Rogue Gaiters. Pretty much what these guys are for is just to keep rocks and other debris out of my shoes. That tends to happen quite a bit. It also has the added advantage of potential snake bites. The chances of that happening is very low, but I guess it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Something else that I carry underneath my shirt is just another vest. I found that makes a very big difference when walking in the heat. It actually cools you down. It feels kind of counterintuitive, but this whole layering system has really made a big difference for me, spending so much time in the outdoors. Then things that I will have in my pocket is a handkerchief. Always need that for cleaning something. And then on my belt, which I say I always have with me, I'm going to be having some type of a multi-tool. At the moment I'm just using this Leatherman. It's a Leatherman Blast. They don't make these anymore. It's a hand-me-down from my grandfather. These are really great. They're very comfortable, and this one has lasted a very long time. And something I'm always going to be having on my wrist or over my neck is just the normal buff. There are really a lot of different applications you can use this for. Now the next thing we're going to be looking at is the backpack, the actual backpack that I'm going to be wearing with me. So this backpack is a First Descent 65 plus 10 litre. Now backpacks are a very personal thing, and I think you should wear a backpack that suits you best, and also most importantly the backpack that you can afford. That's probably the most important thing at the end of the day. So what we're going to do now is we're going to work our way from the bottom of the bag to the top and see what I have in here. So the first thing is a first aid kit. This is super important to me. So this one's very simple. You can just buy this at Clicks or Discam or any place that really sells first aid kits. I've personalized this a little bit more to suit my needs. Then on the other side I've tried lots of different rain systems. So for me at this moment, ponchos work very well. So I've just got a First Descent poncho here, so I find it's just easier to roll it up with a paracord and then just stick it in the side of the bag. Okay, let's see what's in the bottom. So right at the bottom, the only thing I have is my Kikoi sleeping bag. This is a Zermatt 950 Eco. I've had this one for quite some time. It's served me really well. So for summer, specifically in South Africa, I think this is the perfect type of sleeping bag to have. So next up, we have my cooking and eating utensils. So let's run through these. So first off, I've got a tin cup for any tea or coffee that I'm going to be making. Very useful. And next up I have, technically I don't think it's a spork, but it's got a spoon on the one end, a fork on the other, and a serrated bit on the fork. Very useful, and I love using this. To be honest, I use it even when I'm not hiking. Then the next thing is the thing that I'm going to be using to boil water and to cook meals. I did use the square type of dixies or cook sets for a long time, but I found that they used up a lot of space and they weren't as efficient at boiling water, which is most of what you're going to be doing while you're on a multi-day. And what's great with these is it fits perfectly with the little stove top that can fit in there. You can also fit a lighter in here, and then one of these little butane gas cylinders. But these are the things that can get quite heavy, so make sure to share the load if you are hiking with other people. So next up I have a big old plastic bag with all the extra clothes I'm going to be taking with me. So the clothes that will be in my bag, I'll have a spare set of socks. Then I'm going to have either a shirt or some type of a vest that I can wear when I actually get to where we're staying for the night, so I can just get out of the clothes that I've been walking the whole day in and then just get into something a little bit more comfortable. And something else that's quite important is I'm going to have something that's going to keep me warm during the night, which is in this case just a First Descent fleece with a zip. It's really nice because it also has pockets in, so I can just stuff in there if I need them. And to be honest with you, this is a lot less clothes than I would usually take, but I'm trying to push the limits to see what I can kind of get away with. Okay, and next up we have what I'm going to be using for my water. I'm a very big fan of water bladders. I've used them for a very long time, and bar a couple minor incidents, I've had no issues with them. I really like them because of the capacity of water I can take with me, and also the fact that I don't have to stop to drink water. I find that very annoying, so I can just keep going and drink on the go. Next couple of things I have here with me is exclusively for creating content. I didn't know if it was necessary to get this, and I know what a lot of you guys are going to say is you're going to say, oh Tian, you could have just put it in a plastic bag. To be honest, I didn't want to trust any of my camera gear just in a plastic bag, so this was a bit of an impulse buy, a little Sea to Summit dry bag where I can just put all my memory cards, extra batteries, and my camera if needs be in here, and I know it's going to be safe. And then the next thing I have with me is something I actually haven't even tried yet, but I'm going to try it out soon, is just a Ulanzi tripod / selfie stick. I just found this on Takealot for about 500 bucks. It was quite cheap. I was the first person to buy it, so it was a bit of a gamble, but the quality is pretty good, and I'm definitely going to let you guys know if I think it was worth it. So this is pretty much all the food I will take with me on a 4-night, 5-day multi-day. So let's run through what we have here. So breakfast, I find that the Oats So Easy packets are still undefeated. I haven't found anything better than this, and the variety packs are the best because you always get all the different flavors with them. and you can do a little bit of bartering with your friends, see which flavors they have, which ones you don't have, and you can do some swapsies. Next up for lunches, we have salty cracks. I also bought some nut butter sachets. Those are going to be interesting. Then in here I also have a couple of tea bags, and then also a couple of Jolly Jammers, or any type of biscuit really at the end of the day that you want to have with your tea, maybe at the start. These are just the extra little treat. And then for snacks, I've recently become obsessed with trail mix. I love the idea of making my own trail mix, so I just go to the shops, kind of find something that I really want to eat, and then try and work out a ratio of salty to sweet. Obviously not going overboard with the price, but this worked out really well actually. I see a Jolly Jammer has somehow ended up in the trail mix. I don't know how he ended up there. And then for dinners, we've gone for variety. So each dinner we want to eat something different. So for the first night, we're going to have a braai, and we're going to be braaiing some pork sausages, and we're going to put those on buns. And then the leftover from that braai we'll actually have for lunch the next day. So the first day is definitely going to be a bit of a heavy day, but that's probably always going to be the case. So why don't you just eat well? And then the next days after that, we're going to be having tuna wraps with cucumber and tomato, and then also Maggi turmeric noodles with pesto. And also another luxury food we're going to bring with is some baked potatoes with tuna and a little bit of hard cheese. And the tuna we're taking, we recently also discovered these tuna sachets, which is obviously a bit more expensive, but it's quite a bit lighter. So that is pretty much everything in terms of food. So let's see what's next. So something else I really like about these old school bags, that they have these little bags on top. Some people call them brains on top, that can actually detach from the bag, and you can use that for whatever. I oftentimes use this for all of my personal hygiene stuff, toothbrushes, toothpaste, soap, etc. And it works really well for that. But what it's also useful for is storing other easily accessible things. So let's have a look. So besides toothpaste and a toothbrush, which is pretty much all that I'll take with on a multi-day, I'll have some toilet paper, which is always really important. And another thing that I'll store in here is this little catch-all bag. Now this bag I got from Decathlon a little while ago. It goes with me everywhere, and I just have kind of essential repair stuff in here. And you'll also see that the lighter has duct tape wrapped around it. People are going to laugh at you, but it's okay, because one day somebody's going to need that duct tape. And then in here I have a little luxury item. Jessie and I often end up doing separate things together, and oftentimes that activity is reading. So she reads on her Kindle, I don't have a Kindle, but it is nice to take a book with you as a luxury item for when you're on hikes. And then the last thing in here is some type of a head torch. Head torches are very useful. This is a very nice one. I got this for my birthday last year. This is a LED Lenser MH8. It's got quite a few variable settings on the beam strength and also different colors as well. Super useful head torch, the best one I've ever had for sure. And another cool feature is it has an internal battery that can be recharged, but it can also run on AA batteries. So that makes it probably the best head torch to have on a multi-day hike, in my opinion. Oh, and I almost forgot. This thing I always have with me, doesn't matter what the hike is. If it's a multi-day or a single day, I always have this with me. So this is a traditional Kenyan Kikoi, and they are super useful. You can use it for many different purposes, either keeping the sun off of you can use it as a towel, you can make it into a backpack of sorts.
Now everything I brought with me can be used. My sport coat here can be fashioned into a backpack of sorts.
This is a very versatile piece of gear to have, and you can get them for pretty cheap. And there you go, that's pretty much everything that I'm going to take with me on a multi-day hike. Like I said, it's definitely going to change according to many different factors, and also according to my preferences, which change a lot. But let me know what you think of my gear selection. Do you think I have everything I need? Do you think I need to lose some things? Maybe let me know in the comments what you would take with on a multi-day hike. Especially people that aren't from South Africa. It's always so interesting to see what people in different countries need to think about taking with on multi-days, because I find it is often quite different. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.